Hi, Callum here. If you're following Knowlton content, and you should be, then you'll be familiar with the term greenwashing. If you don't, then you're just not cool enough to know. Only kidding. In today's episode, the boys address getting called out themselves for greenwashing.
We got publicly called out or challenged on social media about us as a company greenwashing.
And Lloyd spills the tea on some household brands that have gone through some major greenwashing scandals.
McDonald's, Innocent Smoothies, H&M, Volkswagen.
So, there you have it. I can hand on heart say Knowlton is the most eco-friendly workplace in the world with two of the kindest and best looking bosses ever. Was that okay, guys? This is episode 109 of the Business Anchors podcast.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
A couple of things, Lloyd. One, why did we get called out for greenwashing? And two, other than people hearing an interesting story, what are the anchors actually going to get from this episode?
Controversial start. Have we ever started with two questions?
That was a controversial start.
I assume I'm going to forget the second question by the time I answer the first.
That's all right. I'll ask it again in a minute.
I've actually forgotten what the first one was. What was the first question?
Why did we get called out for greenwashing?
I see. We got called out for greenwashing because someone thought that we were greenwashing.
Oh, sorry. This is going to be one of those episodes. This is going to be a good one, I can tell.
Yeah.
So tell us more about this greenwashing. We got publicly called out or challenged on social media about us as a company greenwashing. I guess, what is greenwashing? Because some people are probably thinking, what on earth is that?
Okay, so third question, but I'll go straight to that one. So I've got a definition.
Okay, cool.
Greenwashing is the process of conveying a false impression of providing misleading information about how a company's products or services are more environmentally sound. Greenwashing is considered an unsubstantiated claim to deceive consumers into believing that a company's products are environmentally friendly.
So in simple terms, someone thought that we were saying, oh, we're really good for the environment, we're doing good stuff, when really behind the scenes we were just like burning plastic in our office and not doing good stuff.
Yeah, that's probably an exaggerated version of what happened. But yeah, they basically called us out publicly on LinkedIn in response to one of our videos saying, you've got all this on your website, but I can't see any evidence of it and stuff like that. So we are going to get to that and kind of what he or she said and our response and that kind of thing. But first, I've got some examples of greenwashing for you. Do you want to hear some
go on.
examples?
Yeah.
Just so people really get what we're talking about. Also, people might want to change their behaviour when they realise what's happening. Who knows? So, first one, McDonald's.
Okay.
In 2019, don't know if you remember the whole thing about getting rid of plastic straws.
Yes.
So, in 2019, McDonald's got rid of plastic straws and replaced them with non-recyclable paper straws.
Oh, you're joking. Are they non-recyclable?
They are recyclable now, but at the time they were non-recyclable. So, that is like a typical thing. It's basically pretending to deal with the issue to the public so that they give you money. But not actually dealing with the issue at all. Another one, Innocent Smoothies. They recently, I think it was actually this year, had a TV campaign. They had some cute animals singing songs about recycling and fixing the planet. I don't know if you would have remembered, but it's fairly recently. Those ads are banned now.
I heard about this, actually.
Coca-Cola owns Innocent Smoothies, and they're the worst plastic polluter in the world, literally in the whole world. And Innocent Smoothies served up in single-use plastic, a lot of them. So, the ads were banned because they were basically like, you're the worst people, and
That is really taking the piss, isn't it?
Yeah. Got three more examples.
Yeah, go on, let's hear 'em.
H&M in 2021, fast fashion brand. So fast fashion is notoriously bad for the planet. Basically, the whole thing of telling people, advertising, saying you need to buy new clothes every season because your ones are going to be not cool anymore soon. It's really bad for the planet, basically. So Changing Markets Foundation, who I have to say I hadn't heard of before this, they looked into these fast fashion brands in the UK, and they looked at all the major high street fashion brands and found out that 60% of their sustainability claims were misleading.
Wow.
with H&M, 96% of their sustainability claims were misleading. So they were basically found to be lying about everything.
Crazy.
So they'd actively made an effort to be putting these sustainability claims on how they're doing.
And they were
good
just
stuff.
bullshit, basically.
It was just bullshit. Volkswagen, that's a big one. They had devices so it said that there was less emissions coming out. Like this
one's
device,
bad.
Yeah, the device detected when a test was happening, and then lowered the emissions while the test was happening. So it's clearly like they want to be saying how good their emissions are, so they faked it. That's
That
mental,
is real.
isn't it?
That is, yeah.
That's like so clearly. Yeah. Anyway, and final one, Starbucks in 2018, they released a strawless lid as part of their sustainability thing to go on the top of a cup,
Right.
so that you wouldn't need a plastic straw. And the strawless lid was found to have more plastic in it than the old lid and straw combination.
Oh my.
And the Starbucks came back and were like, "Oh no, but this is made of polypropylene, so it's a better plastic for recycling." And then it was pointed out that only 9% of the world's plastic is recycled, so that doesn't really make a difference.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
That
it's
is
all those
crazy.
basically those taking actions to try and use sustainability to get more customers and attract money and customers, when actually you're not taking the actions that help.
Can I give you one example that I've got?
Yes.
From this isn't my example, but I posted about this recently on LinkedIn, and someone shared an example.
Yeah.
They recently ordered a coffee from McDonald's and brought in their own coffee mug.
Yeah.
So that to save them using the plastic, and they said, "Oh, can you put it in there, please?" And the people at McDonald's, the people serving, said, "We're not allowed to do that, but what we can do is pour it in a cup for you, and then you can pour it in your cup and chuck that one away." So,
Makes no sense,
I
does
know.
it?
Just completely stupid.
Because that would basically make you're greenwashing, because
Yeah,
you have actually used a paperless cup, but
you're trying to make it look like you haven't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just interesting.
Very strange.
So there's some interesting examples. So should we get into? Actually, no. Sorry. Let me ask you this. Back to us getting called out publicly. How did that make you feel?
Completely honestly, because that's what we do.
Completely
here.
honestly.
So, I don't feel this anymore,
Yeah.
but I felt a bit annoyed because I was thinking, well, someone is trying to, and wasn't necessarily their intent, trying to damage our reputation by questioning our integrity.
I guess because it could have been done in private.
Yeah.
Initially.
Yeah. But so that was my initial feeling. I was annoyed because I thought, well, I suppose because it doesn't feel nice when someone
You're a liar.
kind of says you're lying or you're deceiving people. Then once I got over that, I thought like, oh, this is good. Like we should be having these conversations
Same.
with each other, and because I'm confident that we do the right things, so we can answer and say, oh, actually, this is what we're doing. But say that we weren't, or there's other companies that aren't.
That would have been a good thing.
That would be a good thing that would either make that company change or make people potentially stop considering working with them if it's found out to be true that they are greenwashing and that kind of thing. So I think overall it's a positive thing, and I felt positively about being challenged once I got over the initial like human instinct to feel like, oh, I'm not trusted, and that doesn't feel nice.
It's always that thing of that immediate thing of like a PR thing of we could be at risk of having negative perception of our company.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh no, let's just look at what's happened. We are doing the right thing. Let's go out there and communicate what we're doing.
There is probably a handful of people that saw that comment and might have thought, oh, Knowlton are greenwashing, and they've never seen our responses or anything. So there probably was a small negative effect on our reputation from that comment.
But to flip that on its head, I think overall it's positive because we are doing the right things. What we're gonna speak about in this episode, we've now got an opportunity to talk about the good things we're doing. I guess the reason we didn't originally is ironic because we didn't want to be seen as greenwashing or like talking about stuff before we've done it. But now, because someone's challenged us, we're like, we are doing this
We should
stuff.
actually communicate what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because clearly it's not. So, do you think the listeners need to hear the
Yes.
comment?
Yeah. So let's go for that.
Okay. So, listeners, this is what we're talking about when Knowlton were called out for greenwashing. Dan and team, I love your videos and have done for years, so please consider this a healthy challenge, not an attack. If people don't challenge these things, we're part of the problem. You've just published a vid about greenwashing, but what is Knowlton actually doing? Phrases on your website include, make your video and social media marketing have a positive impact on the world. How? We operate as a carbon negative company. Has that been independently verified? Are you ready for your marketing to start positively impacting you, your customers, and the planet? Again, how? Looking through your site, I can't find anything to do with sustainability or ESG, apart from that you have an ecology subscription through which you've bought carbon offsets and funded tree planting. But have you measured your scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions to work out what your business's carbon footprint actually is, and then work to reduce it as much as possible? Or have you skipped straight to offsetting? Positive impact on the world is a bold claim, and I don't see it being justified, in which case it's misleading, in which case it's greenwash. We all need to remember that we should do before we speak. Actions over words and all that jazz.
You need to get better at reading.
I know, that was terrible, wasn't it? It was just, can't read or speak. So
But
that
no.
was the entire comment. And like we said, by the way, we're not going to mention who this is. To make it clear, absolutely no hard feelings or any negative feelings towards this person.
Yeah, definitely not.
And so please don't like try and find that person and be like, like he was just or she, he or she,
Or they.
or they,
Or them.
or them were, I think, just believed that we may have been deceiving people, so wanted to call that out. So their intentions, I believe, were positive in some ways. So, with that said, so big thing at the start. He says, "How does the work?" So he said, "How are you having a positive impact on the world?"
He or she or they.
He or she or they said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not he, or it could have been. So, and we responded. So, basically responded saying this refers to our positive impact plan, and that is something here at Knowlton that's at the heart of everything we do, basically. So we are. It depends how you want to say it. Climate positive or carbon negative. People say it in different ways, but we've been working hard to reduce our carbon footprint, but we offset our carbon footprint that is left, and more than that. So we're having a positive impact in that way by, rather than adding carbon, we are doing the opposite. We're taking it out of the atmosphere if you look at the net contribution. So that's why we're having a positive impact. But
It's a lot more than that,
Our
though, as
positive
well.
impact plan is a lot more than that. That's like a simple part that this commenter was kind of revolving his comment around. But we're constantly making changes to increase our positive impact to the world, basically, to our people, our customers, our community, and the planet. Obviously, this comment was far more focused on the planet side. With us, it's community, our people, customers as well. But this person, he, they, she, or them, weren't as bothered about that. But just to be clear, I thought it would be good to actually say some of the things we're doing.
Yeah.
So we have a positive impact crew who now meet once every 2 months, and they basically review the actions that we've implemented over the last 2 months, come up with new ideas, and set actions to improve it again. And these are things that reduce our carbon footprint, that have positive effect on our community and the planet.
And
all
we've
that
got a
sort of
Positive
thing.
Impact Crew Slack channel that we all
Yes,
talk
we
about
do.
stuff on.
Yeah. So just to be like, some of these are super like minor things, but these are the sort of things that we've done in the last couple of months. Or we're working towards in this 2 month period. Reduce aircon usage by opening windows. It's a very small thing. Turn off chargers once fully charged. Small thing. Reduce electricity usage with a timer on the drinks fridge. Compost food waste and coffee grounds. I'd say that's quite a big thing that not many people are doing. Eliminate single-use plastics from shoots. We used to take a lot of plastic bottles and things to video shoots. This is one that's... Oh, had a voice break. Back to 14-year-old Lloyd. Not to do with the planet, but this is more to do with our people. So regular praise for any... Oh, I really can't talk today, can I?
You got this.
Regular praise for everyone at Knowlton. So we've made an anonymous nice things box where we put nice notes about our colleagues and then we read them out once a week.
I love that one.
And some things that I've been working on the last couple of months that we're implementing. Track industry pay over time to ensure Knowlton team are being paid fairly. Creating official work from home guidelines for maximum flexibility for our people. Looking at the government thing of giving 45p a mile for using people's cars because that's not enough. Back to the planet, buying a hand towel hook so we can use reusable hand towels rather than paper towels, and adding better signs for our bins so we improve recycling. So a lot of those things are very small things, but just thought I'd actually tell you the reality of it, that we're taking all these tiny actions every day and we come up with new actions consistently to improve what we're doing.
We're not just offsetting stuff, which is the easy route. We're actually making real change to the way we operate to improve.
So that's the thing. So this commenter, the part where he or she, they said, I can't see anything to do with sustainability apart from ecology subscription, which you've bought carbon offsets and funded tree planting. But have you measured your scope 1, 2 or 3 emissions or worked out what your carbon footprint actually is and reduced it as much as possible? Or have you skipped straight to offsetting?
So
yes, we've measured our scope 1 or 2 emissions and we're currently waiting on funding that we've applied for to calculate our scope 3 emissions.
that answers that.
So that answers that. Yes. And yes, we're reducing our carbon footprint as much as possible continuously. As I said, we are continuously implementing new things and meeting every 2 months to review it and implement even more new things. And we're consistently reducing that. So, yes. Have you skipped straight to offsetting? No, definitely not. So we've been focused on this stuff since about 2018. And
we just haven't shouted about it.
We just haven't been talking about it. And we've been reducing our carbon footprint relatively over that time. But we just haven't communicated about it because we didn't want to be greenwashing. And this is something that I think is a big learning point from being challenged. So we went from doing good stuff and not talking about it at all.
And then being accused of greenwashing.
So then we started talking about it because we're like, oh, we're actually doing we're kind of ahead of the curve for a business of our size. We're doing far more than any other business we can see similar size to us. So we're like, well, now we should talk. We've been taking actions for years and we're really stepping it up. But we have, to be fair to this commenter, we don't have a page on our website explaining this. There's nowhere people can go to see actually what are we doing. So this person went on our website, saw claims, saw nothing to back it up, and then thought, I'm going to get these guys and challenge them. So that's something that we've now discussed. We do need to actually communicate this stuff.
Definitely.
More officially, basically. So if someone's thinking, hang on, you're saying this stuff, what are you actually doing? There's somewhere we can direct them to say, you can see everything here. If you have any questions, come to us.
And this podcast is part of starting that process to talk about this now. Yeah. And then we've got plans to create a page on our website that talks through all of this.
And with the carbon offsetting, so he or she was having this, was kind of saying, are you skipping straight to offsetting? Because for those of you that don't know, some people see it negatively to just offset carbon because they think, well, we should be reducing our carbon footprint, not just paying someone else to offset it. And as I said, we are reducing our carbon footprint. We're then offsetting as a last resort. So our carbon footprint after that, we offset it. But we're also offsetting double because I've been focused on this for a few years now, and I know how hard it is to do these calculations. So just in case there's any doubt, or any part of the calculation we're making mistakes or anything like that, at the end of our calculation, we just double it and offset that. So I guess, just want to be clear. And this commenter seemed happy with that once they knew that. But that's the level we're going. It's not just we're saying this stuff and then doing the minimum. We're saying stuff and then trying to do far more than that.
I do genuinely think, like we said before, overall, I think this challenge has been useful to us because we now are going to actually better communicate what we're doing.
Yeah.
starting from this episode.
Because there's slightly at the end of the message when it did get slightly passive aggressive, but again, I think because the commenter thought we were misleading people, so it's fair enough. Positive impact on the world, bold claim. I don't see it being justified, in which case it's misleading, in which case it's greenwash. We all need to remember to do before we speak. So I'm just really happy we were doing long before we were speaking, but that's what's got ourselves into this situation because we've been doing loads of stuff, haven't told anyone.
Yeah.
And then, quite rightly, it's kind of like, hang on, what you doing then?
Yeah. And honestly, I think the intent was in a good place. So I think overall this has been positive. But we need to do this episode to communicate what we're doing.
Yeah. And by the way, I personally don't feel we need this episode to try and justify stuff to anyone.
No.
It's more that I think we found it interesting that we've been challenged. And it's like, oh yeah, actually we should be asking each other more and different businesses what they're doing. And then we had the thing to learn, we need to communicate better what we're doing and that kind of thing. But I do think there's actions. If people are kind of thinking, well, I need to make sure I'm not greenwashing, I think there are things.
Yeah, go on.
You can
Let's
do.
hear these. What?
Because the reason we didn't talk about it for so long is because we didn't want to be greenwashing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of we shot ourselves in the foot. But
What can people do?
so number one thing, just take action before you start talking about it. And I think we did this for years, so I feel really comfortable with it. But we've been doing much more recently, which is why we can talk about it even more. But yeah, take action before talking about it. I think if your intent is to talk about it, and then you're like,
we'll do that.
Well, we've got to do some stuff so we can talk about it. I would reevaluate kind of where you're coming from, because I think you're likely to slip up if your intent is we want to talk about positive stuff, so we've got to kind of do stuff to enable us to do that. I think you need to be doing stuff for the right reasons, and if your business has any benefit from that, which I think probably it will, and I think our business will have benefits from doing the right thing. See that as a byproduct, and oh, that's nice that that's happened. Not our plan.
The reason
is
for doing it.
to get more customers or make more money because of this, and now we've got to find a way to do good stuff. And just this sounds really simple. Just don't say anything you're not doing.
That is really simple, but it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think be honest and transparent about the journey. It's okay to say, we're trying to do this, but we're really struggling with this thing and we don't think we're doing well enough here anymore. Like something for us at the moment, we wanted to switch from using paper towels, like throwaway paper towels to dry our hands, but we'd bought a box of like 500 or something. So we were like, well, we've got to use that. We can't. You can't just burn them now. That's, so that's a challenge we face, and I'm happy with being transparent. Of like, we wanted to switch to having washable towels so that we're not throwing stuff away, but we had this dilemma of action's already been taken where we bought hundreds, so we've got to get through those. And I think being open about that and the journey rather than pretending you're perfect is better.
I think another challenge we've spoken about before is using Amazon. You know, for shoots and things, we order stuff off Amazon, but obviously we want to get to a point where we don't have to do that because...
Yeah. And that's part of, so for those of you that don't know, the scope 3 emissions that we were talking about, they're much harder to calculate. That's the carbon emissions from like your customers and your suppliers and how that's kind of calculated and all that kind of thing. It's much more complex. But we're trying to do our best, so using more local suppliers rather than Amazon for everything. Also with like actors and people we work with. So if we're doing a shoot in Kent, we're trying to work with people that are more local to Kent. So there's less traveling basically and that kind of thing.
Yeah. There's so much to think about when you actually get into it.
Yeah.
There's a lot, isn't it? It's not just, let's do some offsetting. There's actually shitloads of really good work.
But I also think that's the good part of it. There's loads of things you can do. There's loads of small things you can do. So you don't have to be perfect. You just need to be moving in the right direction as much as you can. So take some small steps, like on its own, getting a timer for the drinks fridge isn't going to save the world. But that's one of the 100 things that we're kind of working on. Yeah. And it's a good thing to do.
Yeah. Nice. What other, is there any other actions that people who...
Well, I think actions to take, I think if you're in a business, set up so we've got the Positive Impact Crew, which is a group of us that want to drive this change. And so set up a group of people that give a shit about it. Like, don't try and force people that don't give a shit to give a shit about it. But if there's 3 of you in your business that care about this stuff, you can be the ones to take action and help the others around you take action. If you sit down and meet and talk about things that you could do and then set actions to do it in that group, you're going to start taking positive steps. But I just think really simple things you could do. Stop using single-use plastic. That's a simple thing. You can just decide to do that and then be like, okay, we're not going to buy any more single-use plastic. And anything you can do to reduce your carbon footprint. So that can be something from as small as changing your light bulbs to LED bulbs or buying timers for appliances to turn them off. And then the other thing is offsetting any carbon footprint that you have left. So really, you could take any one of those 3 things I've just said and take some action as a first point. But it's very easy to start. I would just say start by doing something simple. Yeah.
Well done, Lloyd. That was really interesting. Genuinely, I think you shared some good stuff there.
Good.
Well I'm hoping people who listen to this and hear the things we're doing, hopefully, it inspires them to want to do something themselves as a business.
And if any of our team are listening now, just to let you know, I've accidentally picked up an Airbnb invoice with my notes for the podcast. So if
someone's upstairs in the office.
If anyone's looking for a night in Kent for a 6-bed Airbnb, it's Taylor behind the camera. Okay, cool.
He's been looking for that.
Yeah, that's right here.
Cool. Well, yeah. Anything else, Lloyd, to finish?
I would just like to say thank you, commenter, for challenging us. I think it's really good that we're asking each other these questions. And it gave me a wake-up call thinking, well, I never want our business to be in the position where we're not doing the
what
things we're saying. Because that would feel, if we got that comment challenging us saying, this appears to be greenwashing, and we weren't doing what we said, I would feel terrible and it would be really bad. So it was nice to have that wake-up call just to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we need to constantly be on the ball with this. So yeah, keep challenging people. I think it will help us all and do good stuff. Great advice from Lloyd.
And we'll see you in your ears next week.